He was one of my favorite actors and the star of some of the most delightfully bad movies I have ever seen. Here are 5 sensational things about Patrick Swayze. Number 1, he was the big brother we all dream of being or having. One of Swayze's early signature roles was Jed Eckert, who led a group of high school students in a rebellion against an invading Soviet army in Red Dawn. The movie is hysterical Reagan-era propaganda, and not everything about Jed deserves to be emulated. You go right ahead and cry if you feel like it. You don't have to let it turn into something else. Sadness doesn't have to be converted into anger. It's just fine the way it is. But even with the hints of toxic masculinity shaded onto Jed by the screenplay, Swayze manages to create a character who is decent, brave, and caring. He reminds me of upperclassmen I admired when I was a freshman in high school. People who were popular and who excelled scholastically or athletically, but somehow managed to not be massive jerks about it. Of course, Jed was not the last time Swayze was cast to play a sensitive jock. For a while there, it was his main type, including in what was arguably his greatest role. Number 2, he was the consummate warrior philosopher. Has there ever been a more perfect marriage of actor and material than Patrick Swayze and Roadhouse? Well, yes, there has been, many times. Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon, Robert Mitchum in The Night of the Hunter, Angela Bassett and What's Love Got to Do with It? And I could go on, but that's not the point. The point is, Roadhouse played to Swayze's strengths as a performer better than any other movie he ever made by allowing him to play a likable character who is absurdly competent at a ridiculous job in a story that is utterly ludicrous. Dalton, the hero of Roadhouse, is erudite and thoughtful, and also an unstoppable fighting machine who rips out throats with his bare hands and kicks the ass of every fool that dares to challenge him, including former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Terry Funk. And the most brilliant choice Swayze makes is to play this preposterous character absolutely straight. Pay attention to his performance the next time you watch Roadhouse, which, if you're like me, will be sometime in the next couple of hours. He's not ironic, he's not cynical, he's not tongue-in-cheek. He's absolutely in earnest, whether he's dropping aphorisms like pain don't hurt or nobody ever wins a fight on Doc, lecturing the staff at the Double Deuce on the importance of being nice, or preparing to pull a knife from the chest of his murdered best friend. Look. He's letting it turn into something else. Number 3, he was the ideal romantic hero. You probably think I'm going to Dirty Dancing for this one, but you're wrong. Dirty Dancing was a worthy addition to the estimable Swayze filmography, and its success allowed Swayze to take the occasional break from making action films to remind us that he could be a lover as well as a fighter. But for my money, Swayze's best romantic role wasn't in a movie at all, but on TV as a Confederate Army officer torn between love and friendship and duty in the epic historical soap opera miniseries North and South. Swayze's Ori Main was a proud Southerner who was also troubled by slavery and deeply opposed to secession. You know, a fictional character. As a rule, I detest romanticized depictions of the Confederacy and the no-good Johnny Rebs who took up arms to defend it, but as a rule, I also love everything Patrick Swayze ever did. So guess which rule wins this time? Number 4, he was the ultimate charming villain. Swayze was usually cast as the good guy, and with good reason. Even when he was playing the bad guy, it was damn near impossible to root against him. For the best example of this, look no further than Point Break, where Swayze plays a serial bank robber so charismatic and appealing that even the undercover FBI agent assigned to infiltrate his gang can't decide whether to arrest him or be his best friend. Point Break is another solid contender for most entertainingly awful movie ever made, but unlike Roadhouse, Swayze shares the spotlight with fellow titan of the terrifically terrible Keanu Reeves. For bad movie aficionados such as myself, Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves co-headlining a goofy action movie was as momentous as Al Pacino and Robert De Niro playing opposite each other for the first time in Heat, or Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton playing a scene together in Limelight. Yes, Swayze and Reeves were both in Youngblood, but that was basically a Rob Lowe vehicle. Point Break puts these masters of movie megacheese front and center, and the result is goofy, endlessly watchable, and, thanks to the rock-solid chops of director Catherine Bigelow, a well-executed action flick to boot. So what haven't we covered yet? We know Swayze could act. Need I remind you of the knife scene from Roadhouse? We know he could dance, but did you know he could sing? That's right. Number 5, he was a triple threat. Not only could he sing, he had a hit single. Some of you might actually remember She's Like the Wind, Swayze's contribution to the Dirty Dancing soundtrack that peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. But did you also know that Swayze sings 2 songs on the Roadhouse soundtrack? Yes, there's a Roadhouse soundtrack. And yes, it includes artists other than Jeff Healey, may he rest in peace. And Swayze also joins Larry Gatlin for a song on the Next of Kin soundtrack. Now, were these songs any good? I mean, that's kind of beside the point, isn't it? Most of Swayze's movies aren't very good, and yet he brought more joy and entertainment into my life as a moviegoer than any 10 Academy Award-winning actors that you could name. And by saying that most of his movies weren't very good, I do not mean to imply that he was not a good actor, because God damn it, he was good. He had timing, he had wit, he had grace, he had enough screen presence for 5 actors. People are making shitty movies every day, and few, if any of them, will turn out to be a loopy masterpiece like Roadhouse. And ham actors are a dime a dozen, but nobody, not Malcolm McDowell, not even Shatner himself, could have portrayed Dalton, or Bodie, or Jed Eckert, or Ori Main, or Johnny Castle half as good as this guy portrayed all of them. God save the King of Cheese. Long may he reign in our hearts. The hardest part is picking only 5. Catch you next time. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron of this channel. Thanks for watching.